Hello, hello. Hope y'all are doing well. We're here for our weekly manifestation message. We've got a couple of oracle decks. I've got the Mermaids and Dolphins because it's specifically a manifestation deck. And then I've got Wisdom of the Hidden Realms, one of Colette Baron Reed's early decks, which I love. And then I've got the Dreaming Way Tarot standing by to give us a little clarification if we need it. Oh my gosh, rest. I have been getting messages from everywhere, from other content creators, and today I took an unexpected day off. My nephew and his wife, we all work together at this restaurant, and so last night I manifested this big tip, and so today I wasn't planning on taking off because I wanted the big tip to count, but she is going to go on a trip for her birthday with my nephew, and she needed the night, and she was going to get cut. So I was like, I'll just take the night off. I need the rest. And I was even going to go on a walk, and I just couldn't pull myself together, and I still wanted to, and then it started raining. So I just did this early, and now I'm going to relax for the rest of the evening, and it's okay to rest. It's actually a commandment, a mitzvah that we are compelled to keep. On the seventh day, God rested. The sixth day is this day of creation, but the seventh day, God rested. So even the creator of all of existence needs to rest. And Jesus frequently went off by himself to recover from like the work that he would do. It would take a lot out of him. And so he would take that time to rest and replenish before he went out again, because he has to keep his vessel pristine as the best channel that he can be to do his mission and God's work in the world. And so do we. We need rest. But we kind of waste our rest and we don't make it count. So I think we need to allow ourselves to go into deeper and more intentional rest. And also while we're resting, instead of doing things that like deplete our energy and wear down our ability to like exert self-discipline and structure and our willpower, we do things that teach us and expand and nurture us. Like, I don't know, there were a few quiet tasks that I wanted to get into for the rest of the night. Instead of just totally vegging out, I wanted to listen to some Kabbalah classes while I clean and, cook and reset the house and do quiet activities that are nurturing. So, really making that resting time a ritual time that's sacred. For several years now, I have not worked on Sunday morning, and Sunday morning has always been like this special extra quiet time. I don't do anything productive. I just sort of spiritually veg out and take in all my nerdy, soul food videos and rituals and relax and do that kind of rest on Sundays. And then for the last couple of years, I have not worked on Friday nights, and I observe Shabbat. And it has been profoundly wonderful as a time to set aside to keep sacred and holy and not give of the self to mundane tasks, but to really surrender and trust that God is going to provide, and that I'm not the only thing keeping me afloat, and that God is ultimately in control. And so that I can, every now and then, when the season is right, when the rhythm asks me to, the rhythm is gonna get you. Sometimes we just need to rest, right? Even in music, the notes need to rest. So we are resting intentionally and making a sacred ritual. See how much I need rest? Sacred ritual around rest. You've been working hard. Take a nap and get some rest. Snug like a bug in a rug. Let's get some more cards. This man commented that My video is nonsensical and like word salad. I should have said word salad sounds good for you. But I didn't. I said something more salty and then I excused him from the comments. Okay, make a decision. Feeling stuck or indecisive, listen to your intuition and make a decision. So this has been coming up for one of the strong themes coming through this week is about really honing into our intuition and then getting a lot of clarity about our direction and our focus and how we really need to like spend our time and our energy. And I think that we're understanding that like some of the lofty things that we kept adding on to our dreams and goals, they're not really aligned with what we want in the long term. A lot of times things sound great, but we don't unpack it and think about the literal practical day in and day out of what it's going to be like. So I loved it. Like Danielle Laporte, I don't know if you guys know of her. She's a spiritual, creative person. And she had this workshop earlier in her career called Fire Starter Sessions. And one of the things that this workshop was for was to help you narrow down if you had like multiple passions and talents and you didn't know what to do with them, because that was certainly one of the hardest things for me. Not to sound like boastful, but it's like she would take you through this like workshop of like these audio prompts that would help you journal and get a lot of clarity. And it's not for sale anymore. That's why I'm telling you what's in this course, or else I would just like tell you to download it, because I signed up to be an affiliate and then she stopped selling it. I'm like, why would you stop selling a digital product? It's already there. It's already made. It was a wonderful tool. So one of the ways that she would help you narrow down and get focused about what it is that you really want to do and what is going to be like one of the ways to narrow down like a good venture for you as opposed to something else is, how do you want to feel every day? Right? You do this work that you want to do every day. So how do you want to feel when you do it? What does this work literally involve in the doing? Not in your imaginary montage of the high points, but what are the shit sandwiches that come along with this every day? Because on paper, some things can sound great, but then in the reality, it may be things that you're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. Like, for instance, being a lawyer and an attorney sounds really glamorous and powerful and high paying and exciting, but on a day in, day out basis, you're like going to court. It's not a nice place. It's depressing. It's like dirty. It's like public government. God bless the people who want to be there, but it's like not everybody wants to. And you hear stories all the time about people who are pressured into like doing something like going to law school and they do it kind of for their family, but then they're like, oh, I hate this. So one thing that might help you get clarity is, are you putting energy into a part of your business that's not really scalable, that kind of pigeonholes you or that keeps you held back from expanding in some way? Like, for instance, I do one-on-one readings, but ultimately that's not how I want to build my business as a spiritual coach or teacher. I'd rather be able to reach more people than what one-on-one appointments could do. Having said that, I don't deny one-on-one readings or appointments, and I do take them, but it's not like the number one goal of my career as like a spiritual coach or a tarot reader. So think about that as an example. That might help you get clarity. Also, we're kind of getting out of this fog that we've been in as we've been through this like real last haul metamorphosis as we're moving into this new dimension, new timeline. And so there's been such an overhaul that's happened so quickly that it feels like we've almost been in the middle of a tornado and we're like, what is going on? Everything's like in upheaval and chaos around me, and you're just like kind of overwhelmed and you can't move forward. But we're coming out of that now. It's like this depression is breaking up and lifting, and like even the the daylight hours coming in and growing longer, I think, are helping us as a collective. I just keep hearing people even talking about just the relief of a bright sunny day right now. It's like so much to be grateful for. So the energy is lifting, but it's going to be up to us to really hone in and get focused and disciplined and commit to showing up like a professional and not an amateur. An amateur waits to be motivated and inspired and doesn't get much done and usually doesn't finish anything. Whereas a professional will show up every day for an allotted amount of time, no matter what, rain, snow, sun, shine, whether they feel like it or not, whether the circumstances are ideal or not. And they spend that time, and whether it's a bust, it's whatever, but they at least made a little progress that day. So some of it is just going to be getting decisive to force yourself to get into these healthy routines and disciplines. And then there's other ways, like we talked about, that it can help you get clarity and hone in and save your energy from things that you thought you needed to spread yourself out, and maybe you really don't. Self-forgiveness. Let go of old guilt and remember that you're God's perfect child. So we're also, the Pisces season is helping us go into our subconscious and bring into the light a lot of the things, the driving motivators that we haven't been aware of. So this can be guilt, shame, feelings of undeservingness. If we feel like we don't deserve and we have low self-worth, then we'll settle for less than what we deserve. And we won't be consistent with ourselves. We won't be consistent and show up for the commitments that we make for ourselves. And because we're not showing up and we're not showing commitment to ourselves, then that means that we're putting out a signal that's drawing in things that are inconsistent and non-committal. So we need to forgive ourselves for all the patterns that we've been through, all of the perceived failures or losses or ups and downs. All of our experiences have added to our own unique journey. That is, everything was planned and put there on purpose for you to have certain moments that would allow you opportunities to see the darkness in your life, or to see your shortcomings or weaknesses, or flaws, and give you that opportunity to choose certainty in the Creator, to choose to understand that there is a plan here, that God is moving through the situation in order to unfold and awaken my higher destiny and like my higher self's expression through the elevation of my soul, right? And breaking through those shells of negativity and that old conditioning and those old belief systems and limiting beliefs and things that held us back, right? The ego is always going to try to keep us in Egypt. Remember, we're moving into, so Lent is Wednesday. So for Lent, it's like there's 3 parts. You want to participate in the fast by abstaining from something. And the more you want that thing and it's harder for you to abstain, then the more compelling and powerful that sacrifice is, and the greater the change that can happen in your life. So you commit to abstaining from this for 40 days between Wednesday and Easter. And you are to use this time for spiritual growth and reflection, to have a regular prayer meditation practice that will facilitate that growth and that revelation. And then you are to give alms to the needy and to tithe and to give to the poor and to share and to do acts of sharing. So that's coming up. And I think that like when we do like a collective ritual like that, or a collective act of sacrifice for the sake of sharing and in a spirit of unity, that's very powerful. And so I am inviting anyone, you don't have to be, I'm not Catholic. I just love a feast or a fast. Anything in the Abrahamic religions, like I'm like, yeah, let's fast it, let's feast it, let's do this. So I'm inviting you guys to participate in Lent this year, and I want to do this not just for myself, but for the protection of our country and the protection of our Constitution and democracy, and the protection of unity and love in this country. And I want us to return and maybe, we've never been there before, but come together in neighborliness and acceptance for one another as a country and as a world. And I hope for peace on earth and goodwill toward man. So that's what I am linting for, and it helps you push through the temptation. So yes, let go of old stuff, and let yourself, like when Jesus died on the cross, he died to be the sacrifice that would wash away all that darkness, all that sin. This is like a spiritual cleansing and a reset, right? And when we're baptized, right? That baptism is a symbol of washing away the old and rising up, resurrecting into a new creature. So part of the Lent season is to help you, like you're sacrificing something to help you overcome a difficulty or an obstacle in your life. An area in your life where you'd like to reveal more light and overcome, negativity or struggle or challenge or suffering in some area. So, during those 40 days, we make an effort to transform our heart and our attitude and our behavior and our consciousness in some way along with that. And in hopes that our self-sacrifice will add to our fruitfulness in our endeavors. Yes, so forgive yourself of the past, let go of the past, and just consider this time a transition into a whole new life and as a whole new creature. Positive energy, surround yourself with positive people and situations and avoid negativity. So, if you can get into a body of water or near one, or just take a ritual bath or something that you think of as just cleansing yourself as a given baptism to wash away the past and move forward into the future, into this new chapter of your life. Your old lower self is gone, the lesser self, the self that ends up working against you, and now you're aligning more fully and more wholly with that higher version of you that can really tune into that internal guidance and act upon it with confidence and certainty and inner peace and ease, which leads to this blessed fruitfulness. Which reminded me of something else that I wanted to point out. It was thought about something. Oh, maybe it'll come back to me. It's been on the edge of my thoughts, and every time when I'm talking, it's coming up, and I'm like, oh, I'll keep going. Lady of the Lightning, surprises, sometimes shock, total paradigm shift. This is what I'm talking about. I think that we are so close to some big breakthrough. And that's one reason why there's a huge migration of deer walking through my front yard across the street. So we're on this verge of a huge breakthrough right now and a huge turning point in our life. And so I think that this act of self-sacrifice is going to be a big tipping point. And I think that this reset there's this shift in even our ideas and the way we see things and the way that we are responding to life. And so it's really going to start yielding a different experience of life around us. And it can happen so fast. We've already been doing the work for so long, setting the stage behind the scenes, that once it's showtime, it's it looks effortless, right? When you see a great grand show put on, but it was all the rehearsal and all the production on all the planning and practice, hours of blood, sweat, and tears that go into that magic that you see on a stage, right? So we are getting into a stage of a burst of growth and of fruitfulness, and I'm really excited. This seems to keep coming through in all kinds of messages around me. So it's capturing that lightning in a bottle. But something is going to happen, and it's going to be so fast. It's last night. I've been determined to not get too anxious about all the stresses of, life and all of that, but particularly finances. And just knowing that like I'm going through a period of like just testing my like threshold, testing my faith. And I was just like, I'm just gonna keep on choosing certainty and knowing that any minute, like something can happen that turns everything around instantly. And it often has, and God's never left me high and dry. And he knows that I worked hard to build up my finances and build up my savings. And he's not going to, he's not going to see me lose everything, and everything can be restored so quickly. And just like that, I have been making an effort with bad habits and trying to make changes. And last night I made in one shift more than I would make in a good week. So, and that was purely like a miracle of God. So you just never know. Whatever you're investing into your life, don't get discouraged and don't give up, because you are putting equity into a spiritual bank account. And even if you don't hit the mark, that energy is saved in equity for you. And when the time is right, as long as you don't get despondent and despairing and give up, then all of that investment, all of your effort has been set aside for you, and it will pay off. So rest in that peace, knowing that everything is coming together. So you can rest in peace and really trust. Oh my God, the chess queen, trust and strategizing, right? You can actually relax in knowing that things are coming together, that you've been on the right path, that you've been doing the right things, and now it's just a matter of patience, timing, and precision. So I love this, the chess queen, trusting and strategizing, making a decision. So feeling stuck, listen to your intuition and make a decision. So take your time and do some prayer and meditation. Sit in prayer, meditation, and give space for your intuition to come through. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So I've been pointing out recently how I've noticed how subtly like AI can get into the zeitgeist and slowly degrade our ability to like have cognitive reasoning and critical thinking and intuitive like connection. And one thing I follow this girl, or I just started following her, but she has these like intuitive messages that I really connect with. And she's like this Christian creator, but she started to promote this app that I guess that she's sponsored by, which is fine. I don't have anything against that. But I noticed that like the app, it was like, it's supposed to be good, right? It's this Bible app where you can talk to a chatbot and tell it any problem that you're having, and it'll tell you what Bible verse to read about it. Which that sounds great, right? It sounds perfect. It sounds like a good way to start studying the Bible, and which that is a good tool. Like this could be a tool used for a lot of good things. But if you're not cognizant and you're not discerning and you're not intentional with this, it can prevent you from being able to develop your own intuition. Because what is truly magical is a moment where you don't know where to look in the Bible, but your inner voice tells you to go grab it and open to a certain section. And you're like, I don't even know where to go, but this feels right, so I'm opening it to here. And then it's like you stumble upon the very verse you need. And in that moment of the surrendering to that inner prompt and experiencing one-on-one that magical moment of miracle, that is like the thing that is so moving and powerful. And that it's like your childlike wonder and awe of the way that like spirit moves so mysteriously. And that's what gives you the magical moment. Somebody else was pointing out recently how all of these like mind hack people and neurological, brain experts have figured out manifestation, and they've taken the woo-woo out of it, and like now they just figured out how to like make it like this neural process. And it's like the woo-woo, and this girl was like talking about how the woo is the point. That's the faith. Like without faith, it's like just empty worship of self, and it's empty and it's sinful, and there's no magic to it, and there's no miracle behind it. God's not in it. But like it's when you understand like that it's not you necessarily, but you're channeling through this miraculous moment, and you're connecting with that timing, and it's prompting you, and you're participating with that, and you have to like follow that little voice, because you know when you don't, you're like, oh man, I should have done that. But if you're sitting there talking to a chat bot every time, you're just like, oh wow, that AI bot was smart, it told me where to go. Well, that was helpful. But you don't have that moment of, oh my God, I had no idea where to look, but something just told me, and then I did, and there it was. Like, that has more power and life in it, right? So subtle ways, and that's how we hone our intuition ultimately. So it's like these subtle ways we have to look out for about squandering our own sharpness and our own skills, and just giving them all to AI, right? AI is taking over in a way that we are just so happy to let it come on in. It's like, resist. Protect your mind, protect your spirit, protect your soul. I mean, it's not that we can't use it, but I think we need to be really mindful. Society's not very mindful or cognizant. We're barely like refined and not like complete like primal animalistic nature, right? So we need to slow down and take a breath and cognizantly use these things that can be like massively destructive if not used wisely with discernment. The word Lord, communication, praise, and dishonesty. So with self-forgiveness, be careful of the way that the ego will trick you and use like that internal, tape, the way that you talk to yourself inside to try to prevent you from revealing your potential in this world. Right? So watch the way that you talk to yourself, and watch the way the ego tries to sort of like steer you into, oh, this is never going to work out, just give up, and be watchful of that. Because like I was starting to talk about earlier, how we're getting into Passover season. Passover is all about exiting Egypt. Egypt is the ego, or the things that the devil uses in our life to keep us bound and held back and small and limited. And it keeps us in darkness and keeps us from revealing the light of the Creator. It was light out when we started this video. It's gotten darker. So sorry that the lighting looks like a freaking independent horror film. So yes, what we say to ourselves matters. And I think as we're getting more honed in and more revelation and more clarity around what our unique angle and talent and skill and offering is to the world, it's like we're able to communicate it better. And because of this, people are recognizing it and they are responding well, and it's effective for them. It's helpful for them. So that's really good. All right. And let's get one more card. I don't think we need any tarot cards, honestly. I think it's all been pretty clear. Sacred union and positive energy. I love this. This is like that internal marriage of marrying the spirit with the material. Doing acts with faith and great gratitude and gladness and certainty that it is already a done deal, right? Being in complete trust and faith in the Creator helps us merge and be one with the Creator. Taking our inner guidance, that guidance from the Holy Spirit, and then acting on it, that brings the intrinsic into the extrinsic, the spiritual into the material. The way that we've allowed the Christ and our transformation to change our mindset and change our hearts, it's also affecting the way that we are showing up in the world also. And it's in the seed level of our consciousness when we create. And so it's actually creating more blessing and more good, fortunate energy, like creative life force. It's putting all that light of the Creator into that. into everything that we're doing. It's like our intention and our consciousness around when we do things flavors the whole thing that becomes. All right, I am feeling good about this week. I'm feeling like we're getting more clarity, we're getting more strategy, we're getting more focused and intentional. And I think that major transformation is happening, and it's going to be happening very quickly. It just feels like we've been putting in the work for so long that this is that final moment where the hero is like, it looks like everything's working against the hero, but the hero is like, are you, the story is like, are you going to give up? And the hero is like, no, I'm not going to give up. So we are not giving up. We are persevering. We are this close. So rest when you need to so that you don't burn out. Every week you need a sacred day set aside for rest. Even God had that for himself, and so did Jesus. So you're no better than God or Jesus, and those are commandments to take a holy day of rest and make sure to always observe it. All right, you guys, let me know if you're going to do Lent, and you can tell me what you're going to give up, and that helps you stay accountable. I'm giving up sweets and state compliant recreational THCA cannabis. So yikes. It's all right. That'll be fine. I just get a little bit more edgy, but only at first. So it's just my way of like relaxing my nervous system, but it's okay because you don't want things to be a crutch, right? So that's why we give things up. All right, y'all. I appreciate all of your input and helpful comments that are kind of giving me good ideas about honing in our search engine friendliness on this channel. So thank you for that. And it's interesting, already in the past few weeks, my analytics have shown a drastic change in my audience, or at least it's narrowing it down, or a lot of people have left. And it's funny because my audience has shifted to predominantly males. Y'all are like 60 or 70% of my viewers right now. And I wonder if it's because you guys are the ones actually commenting. My friend Tracy, she's commenting, but I don't know. The ladies have been quiet for a long time. So thank you guys for all your support. I'm here for you. Thank you. Ciao.